Well, good morning. Welcome back to the channel. We are going to try and start harvest today. As you can see in our last video, we picked one load of corn and it's still pretty wet. So we're going to switch over to beans. There's been quite a few guys taking some beans out in the area and it seems like it's going pretty well. So that's what we're going to try. Got a few things to do to the combine before we get started. I got to switch this thing back over to beans. I need to check all my belt tensions because we replaced a whole bunch of belts and ran it, and belts tend to stretch when you first run them. Then I also remembered that I forgot to check the tires, so I need to do that before we take off down the road. Shouldn't take too long. It was a little damp this morning, so the beans won't go right away, but the sun's shining, got a little bit of a breeze, so I'm hoping by, what time is it now? It's 9 o'clock, maybe by 11, 12 o'clock we can try some. There's been quite a few guys in the area that said they're testing lower than they thought. A lot of the beans still have leaves on them, but they're still testing the moisture's just fine. So let's get started here, get this thing ready to go, and see what we can get done today. So most of the tensioners on this thing have these springs like this right here, and there's an indicator. Well, let's go to one that's easier to see. Like this spring right here, there's an indicator, this arm. It's probably easier for you to see without the flashlight. You want to line this washer up with the notches on here, and that way you know it's tight. It's easy to take a look at it real quick and see if they're tight. That one's good. That one's good, but we're missing a jam nut, so Dad had to go to town. He's going to pick up a new nut for that because these are metric and we don't have a metric bolt bin. So just go around checking all those, make sure they're tight. Found one that was loose, this one right here. Pretty simple to do. You just loosen the jam nut, take your ratchet wrench, and tighten it up until, oh, going the wrong way. Tighten it up until you go to the indicator. Pretty simple. Well, I had 5 loose belts, so I guess it's a good thing I decided to check that. Next, let's check the tires real quick. This one has 30, and that's what it's supposed to have. Perfect. Check this back one. I don't think, yeah, this one doesn't have a sticker on the wheel. But we'll just check both of them and make them the same. It's not super critical. 20, that's probably enough. Probably needs to have 30 in it. See what the other side's got. I thought that one on the right side looked a little squatty. Yep. That one's got 30. So we'll put 30 in the other one. All right, the tires are good to go. Next thing we're gonna do is check the oil and check the antifreeze. Good. Freeze real quick. It's hard to tell. I have to take the cap off. Well, it's warm way up here. Yep, it's right at the seam. Antifreeze is good. We just had the EGR cooler and water pump replaced on this combine. The EGR cooler was leaking, so we were having to put about a gallon of coolant in it every day. So we finally got that fixed, so we need to keep an eye on the antifreeze for a while. It was low after we ran it the first time. Probably had an air bubble in it or something. Now we'll get this thing switched over to beans. All right, so there's not really that much to do to change this thing over to soybeans. The first thing I do is we got to put these shields in our PowerCast tailboard. They go right here. The reason why we take them out in corn is because if we leave them in, it will leave 2 windrows of husks, like on each side of the combine, and we want them spread kind of even. Then we put them back in when we cut beans because we're running a 40-foot Draper, and this helps us spread the chaff as wide as the head, because there's a lot of fertilizer in chaff, so you want it spread evenly across the field. So pretty easy. Pop these bolts out. They're carriage bolts. Put the plates in and then tighten them back up. I shouldn't say there's fertilizer in the straw. There's nutrients in this chopper. Next thing we need to do is put the chopper in high range. You got to use a pocket knife or something to pop these clips open. Watch your fingers, I always forget about that. And then there is a knob right here. Let's see. Yeah, we need to be out for beans. So that should be good. The older machines like 70 series, 60 series, you actually had to change a belt over to change the speed of the chopper, but this one, they put like a little transmission gearbox deal on here, so makes it a little simpler. Now we need to raise the chopper knives. Pretty simple. Loosen this up. Sometimes, yeah, I'm gonna have to. You gotta get the corn cobs out of here because it'll block it. And you pull this lever and it will raise the knives up into the chopper, because we don't actually chop the corn husks when they come through, but we want to chop up the bean straw. So next we come up here and we put the rotor in high range. There's a lever for the transmission for that. You just pull out on it. In is first, middle is neutral, or I should say in is low, middle is neutral, out is high. And sometimes you got to spin it a little bit to get it to go. I think it went. Yeah, she's in. Sometimes I don't get that quite into gear, and then when I go to fire it up, it tells me the rotor's not turning. What do we have left? Accelerator beater. The last thing on the outside of the machine is to change the feed accelerator to high range. And that is done by taking this lever, dropping it down, takes the tension off the belt, and then you got to move the shield, and you move this belt from the inside pulley to the outside pulley. Well, we got that done. Everything on the outside should be done. Wait, what? Remove before use? Huh. The rest of the settings are just in the screen in the cab, so I'll just switch those over as we get going down the road. Oh, I forgot one setting. I forget what this is called, but I think this is like a cob deflector that I'm not exactly sure what it does. I think it does something with the cob so they don't hit the chopper the wrong way. So you got to put this up here into wheat/soybeans mode. Now I think I got everything. Next, I'm going to start this thing up, unhook the corn head, set that back on the trailer, and then hook up to the Draper. All right, let's get this thing fired up. Got all my combine snacks. Wasabi soy almonds. These are amazing. And some beef jerky. We got the 1 pound bag from Menards for $6. That's a good deal. Oh, forgot the battery disconnect. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. This thing has a camera on the back that is on all the time, so if you don't shut the battery off, it'll drain the battery. There we go. So when I set the corn head down, I wasn't quite centered on this holder here, and this foot was sitting right on the edge of this and holding it up. So the angle was too far forward, so I couldn't hook it back up. So I took a jacked this side up, pried it over with a pry bar. I didn't film it because I thought there was a slight chance that the corn head could fall off the trailer. I didn't really want that on camera. So I'm gonna let the combine sit out here for a little bit. I gotta run to town and do a super fun errand. I got to pay a bill at the fertilizer plant, so I'm gonna take care of that real quick. And it seems like things are drying off quicker than I thought, so maybe we can get going here pretty soon. So we're going around checking over the Draper, getting everything greased. We also have to re-tension the Draper belts. This is an indicator here. Crank the bolt on the end. We take the tension off the belts when we store it for winter, that way the belts don't stretch. So one on each end and one in the middle. We're headed down to the field. We got a few things that we can't grease on the Draper until we pick it up off the trailer, and that center belt also has to be tightened with the header picked up. So We're going to do that real quick. Field's just down the road here. There's 24 acres here. Like I said, it's the first field we planted on April 16th. They look like they've been ready for a while. We just haven't been ready. So dive into them, see what we've got. Now some of you who are really paying attention might be thinking, wait a minute, didn't they have a 35-foot draper in the past? Well, we did, but we actually totaled it last year. I was cutting beans along a fence line and we hit a tree stump and it bent it all to heck and they ended up totaling it. So we were looking for another 35-footer, but we couldn't find one. We found this really nice 40-footer at Maury's. He said we could try it out, see if we liked it, and we liked it. So now we have a 40-foot draper. I can't remember how to do this one.
It's in the back.
No, it's just one. Looks like
This one, I got it just in, but it's sagging a little bit. I think there's some garbage underneath it.
we had to consult YouTube to find the tensioner on the center belt, but I think we got it.
Yep.
Let's set this back up.
No. I got it. Let's keep. There we go. Got it.
Well, we got all of our maintenance points attended to. So we're going to run it a little bit, make sure everything's right. Let's see. Update track spacing. Ah, I hit the wrong button. I got to change the spacing on the header. Let the screen power up. Looks like our rotor's in gear. That's good. Does not need to be going that fast. Let's see what our belt speed is. What button do I push? I don't remember now. I got to relearn how to do this every year. This thing is saying they're 32% moisture, but there's no way that they're 32% moisture. So I'm going to cut a little bit and we'll probably run a can sample into town and see what they're actually testing. Okay, so this thing was set on corn That could be why it's reading the moisture so high. Where is soybeans? Okay. Now let's see what the moisture says. Well, now the moisture is saying 21, but that's an average, so I really don't think they're that wet. I'm gonna cut to the end here and we'll take a sample in and see what we got. Now it's finally saying like 13.9 to 14. I think it must have just either had some corn left in it from the other day, or that moisture sensor's got to figure out what it's doing, so I think they'll be good to go. Well, Dad took me up to the house to get the grain cart. He took a sample to town, and he just texted me that they are 13.2% moisture, which is just about perfect. So I took the end rows off. I'm going to get emptied out here and go down to the other end of the field and get that end opened up. Don't hit anything. We don't need to total another Draper. Well, it's going pretty good. A lot of these beans, like right here, they still have leaves on them, but they're testing 13%, so that's a little bit unusual, but not out of the realm of possibility. We have seen that before. I am noticing one issue, though. When I get to the end, I'll hop out and show you. Alright, so you remember those plates I put in the PowerCast tailboard this morning? I think I got them backwards. I think I'm supposed to have them in for corn, take them out for beans. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it's kind of leaving a windrow of bean straw. I thought it did that with corn, but it does it with beans, so I gotta take those back out real quick. Not a big deal. I feel like every year I have to relearn how to run everything. What the heck? I'm in the middle of a tornado all of a sudden. Ah. There, let's see if that makes a difference. It ought to. That looks a lot better. It's a lot more even across that last pass. This pass here, before I took them out, it throws most of it to the outside, so you get a windrow on the left, windrow on the right, whereas this is more even. Well, we got our first field done. Everything went pretty well. I'm going to dump this last little bit in the grain cart, and then we will move to the next field. Hurry up, Papa, we're full.
Hurry up, Papa.
There he is.
He is here. Oh, where's he going now?
He's gonna turn around.
Oh.
See, watch. See in the mirror? That mirror.
What mirror?
Right there. There he comes.
I want putts.
Oh, sorry, next time. Well, we're going along doing pretty good. We're a little over half done with this field. There's 75 acres here. Got Garrett with me. What are you doing? He's watching a show on my phone. He was getting a little antsy. I don't blame him. But anyways, we're just going along. I guess Dad blew an airbag on one of the hoppers, so he had to go home and switch hoppers. So that took a little bit. I also had a little bit of a scare. The code popped up on the combine and said turbo sensor actuator fault or something like that, and then engine derated. Which we had that happen to us last year and the year before that. So we had to put turbo sensor in it. and I don't know what's going on with that thing. I was able to shut the battery disconnect off and turn it back on, and then it worked. So hopefully I can get by like that for a while till we can catch a rain or something, figure out what's going on. But talked to the deer mechanic, he said the combine might need a turbo, so that's fun. Also sounds very expensive. So anyways, I guess we'll keep going as long as we can. Well, the elevator's closed. Well, they're gonna close in 10 minutes, so we don't have time to get one more load. All we're really gonna do is fill up the grain cart for the night. That way we got everything loaded, we can empty it in the morning. I assume it'll probably be damp again in the morning and won't get too early of a start, so that's probably gonna do it for this video. Just about dark. We got, let's see, about 70 acres done today, so far anyways. Not a bad day for a first full day of harvest. Usually we can get more than that in beans, but it was a little slow going. We didn't have a grain cart operator, so I had to stop a lot, so maybe we can try and do a little bit better tomorrow. Anyways, that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. You got anything to say, Garrett? No?
Yeah.
What?
The elevator's closed, so we can't go today.
Yep, elevator's closed. See you next time.